I'm Milton Farr. I wanted to make this video today because I've acquired my first flip property. I wanted to discuss how I was able to acquire this property. So I decided to get into real estate investing about a year ago. I wanted to wholesale because I didn't have a lot of money. So I started sending out direct mailers. I started sending out probate mailers. I was sending out mailers to absentee owners. I was doing this on a weekly basis for about roughly 6 months. Throughout that time, I was getting calls from people I were mailing, but they weren't motivated enough. People will call you and they weren't realistic about the price that they were willing to sell their home for. So it was pretty tough, but I kept going. I stayed persistent throughout the whole process. I figured that I knew I could do it. I did a lot of research. I studied, I read books, I watched YouTube videos, I Googled different things online, and I kept my focus and stayed persistent throughout the process. Probably about 8 months later, I got a phone call from a motivated seller. She said that she had received my mailer about 3 or 4 months before, but she set it aside because she wasn't ready to sell yet. Got the phone call. I told her, let me check the comps so I can figure out if we were in the same ballpark as far as how much she wanted to sell the home for. Checked the comps, and I asked her how much she wanted to sell it for. She said $50,000. I was thinking around $45,000, but that was a close enough number for me to go ahead and go out and look at the property and see if we can get a deal together. So I told her, sure. Of course, I would love to go ahead and look at the home and see if we can get a contract on the works. In the meantime, as I told you before, I didn't have any money. And I decided that I didn't really want to wholesale because I wanted to acquire rental properties, and I even wanted to do a flip, and I wanted to be hands-on on the process so I can see how everything goes. And the only way I could do that is I had to find a partner who did have money. Luckily, before she had called, I had already met a guy who was a new investor as well, but he went through a real estate program. You know, some of those programs that you may see come around that comes to your city, and they have those seminars about getting into real estate. Some of the famous people from Flip This House are head of those programs. Yeah, that program. So he joined that program, and he was able to get a line of credit through that program. They showed him how. Yeah, he had to spend quite a bit of money to get to that point, but he now had a line of credit, which was key. So it's definitely key. Build your relationships. So I had met with him before I got that call from her, and I told him, if I find something that we can possibly flip, would you be interested with going 50-50 with me? He said, that sounds good. If you can find it, I'll have the money and we can make it happen. So she called at the right time. When I got off the phone with her, I called him and I said, I got something. I think it's going to be a great deal for the both of us. I'll give you more details after I go view the property. So when I scheduled to view the property, which was a few days later after she had called, she canceled on me. She said she wasn't ready yet. She said she had tenants in there that hasn't moved out yet. They got to get them out. I said, okay, well, call me when you're ready. I figured she was definitely going to call me. If she held my letter for 3 months, I knew that I didn't have to rush her because she was definitely a motivated seller. So a week or two went by. She gives me a call and she was like, okay, I think we got the tenant situation under control. We're getting them out. Can you meet me this weekend? I said, yes, great. Let's make it happen. That weekend came. She called me and said, I can't meet this weekend. The lawyer isn't ready. See, the home was going through probate at the time. That's the reason why it was taking so long. The lawyer wasn't ready for her to sell yet because it still had some more documents that had to be taken care of before they could sell the property. So she called me and said, you know, Milton, I can't meet you this weekend. The lawyer isn't ready. I promise you, I'm not blowing you off. I'm going to meet up with you. I'm going to show you the home. Just give me some time. I said, that's fine. Luckily for me, I do have a full-time job, so it's not like I'm pressed for money at this time. I'm not pressed to purchase this property right now, even though I wanted to get it purchased and on contract immediately. But I was okay with waiting. She called me about 2 weeks later and said, okay, we're ready. The lawyer's ready. The tenants are out of the home. Come see the home. I said, great. So I went out, viewed the property, and the property, it was going to need a lot of work. Now, as a new investor, I was thinking, do I really want to handle this much work? I got to get a good deal. That $50,000 that she originally said, I was like, there's no way I can do this at $50,000. I got to get a good deal. So I went to her and I asked her, you know, how much do you want to sell it for? Because keep in mind, it's been about a month and a half. So I asked her again, thinking she probably forgot about the $50K that she originally said. And luckily she did. She said $40K. So I jumped on it. She said $40K. I was thinking $40K. Let's just get a contract together and let's get this done. Now, hindsight is 2020. I should have negotiated more and probably got it down to around $35K because, you know, the more money the better. But I was just so happy that I was going to be getting my first property. I jumped on it. I called my business partner. I told him, hey, I told him the complete deal. The ARV, the after repair value for this particular property was about $110,000. Told him we're going to get it for $40K, and I just did a rough estimate in my head on what I'm thinking the repair costs are going to be. I was thinking between $25 to $30K. So, and hopefully closer to that 25. So we're looking at a good margin to make a pretty nice size profit on this home. He was happy, ecstatic. He said, yeah, let's go forward. So we went through the process. We actually ended up having to get a hard money lender because his line of credit wasn't as much as what we were needing to do to get this property where it needed to be. But that was okay. We were able to get the hard money lender. I knew, once again, I built the relationship because I went to different meetings and I knew a hard money lender who was able to help us out. So when it was time to close on the home, we were ready to close, you know, within that week after we broke the contract. But the lawyer told us we can't close yet. They still have a couple of things that she needed to sign and a couple of papers that they had to get. So we ended up having to wait about 2 to 3 more weeks before the lawyer allowed us to close on the home. Finally, they allowed us to close, and now we're in the rehab portion. I wanted to make this video for all of you because I just wanted to express, if you're serious about this business, if you're serious about getting into real estate, you have to be persistent and you have to just keep going. Stay focused. If you have a goal, the only way you're going to be able to achieve that goal is if you keep working at it. We finally were able to acquire the home. Right now it's going through rehab, and I'll make other videos here in the near future showing the property, discussing the rehab, and showing the home after it's been rehabbed. I plan to make several videos down the road. I'm going to keep it completely honest with you guys on what's going on. Be 100% real. You can just call me Mr. Real Deal because that's what I plan to bring to you, is nothing but honesty and real when it comes to investing. And I know it's a lot of investors out there that gives you the fluff and just show you all the great things about investing. But I'm going to just show you all the real, because through this process, we've had the home for about a month or two now, and we're rehabbing, and I'll discuss in later videos. But it's not as easy as you may see it on TV. And I'm going to discuss all those things with you. Subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to making more videos for you guys, and look forward to acquiring more properties. And if you have any questions, you can, or if you have any opportunities, I'm in the Dallas area. You can always hit my email at mytxhomeinvestors@gmail.com, and I look forward to speaking with all of you. Thank you.